Welcome to BS session 103. From Fernie to Flin Flon, Creston to Cochrane, Kenora and Carberry, Sparrow to Suffield, Swift Current to Selkirk. Under these prairie skies, the lead shell flies. The matches we know, the matches we love. The places we go, the places we love. The PRS Foothills region fits like a glove.
Because I have a shotgun and rifle that I use for, and 22 gauge that I use for ptarmigan, moose, and black bear.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You're listening to your weekly dose of BS, Ballistically Speaking. The Ballistically Speaking Podcast.
Never did take you for a poet, Derek, but you've changed my mind tonight.
How long did it take you to write that?
I'm definitely not a poet, and I definitely did not do well in English. I was much more of a physics guy.
That was all AI. It was all AI, wasn't it?
Right, yeah.
Derek GPT.
No, that's not even good enough to be bad Chat GPT quality. So, yeah.
What
I
the
don't
hell?
I don't use that robot AI devil.
Van
That's
says
funny.
it isn't live on Facebook.
I did say
My
that.
dashboard says it is live, so I don't know what the heck is going on here.
Maybe it takes a minute.
We'll see. He'll text me if it isn't.
Does
Yeah, why in the heck?
It
One
says
of
we're
us-
live. I'm watching myself. This is trippy.
okay? Mike's having the podcast inception
Well,
over there, so obviously it seems to be working. Maybe it's
we're
on
there.
Van's end.
EM says it's working, so
Okay, yeah.
Good
Yeah.
now.
do it live.
Good to go.
Those guys know if something works, so we're gonna trust them.
All right.
So.
Bueno. All right. Let's get our obligations over with and get into the meat and potatoes of this stuff. What do you say?
Sounds
Do
like
her.
a plan.
All right. BS session, what are we at? 103?
103.
Is brought to
Yeah,
you
we're
tonight
103.
by Callsign 66, Canada's best rifle training. Welcome to the Brotherhood. Book a course now at callsign66.ca and follow them on Instagram at callsign66, that's spelled out 66, and on Facebook at C/S66. Don't make me say it again.
They'll do. We're also brought to you by Ribstone Gunsmithing. Craftsmanship done right. Contact Oscar at ribstonegunsmithing.ca and breathe life back into any firearm.
And we do not want to forget our folks at March Scopes Canada. The Dion Optical Design line of rifle scopes has a scope for all your hunting and shooting needs. Find Doug and Nisa at marchscopes.ca.
And March Scopes Canada, when you buy Apex, precision comes standard. Check out all the fine precision. Jesus,
Start
I've only
that
had a half
over.
a glass of whiskey.
We
I-
told
was
Rooster
not
not
right.
to
Too
drink
much.
that much.
Carly, do you
told
want to do this?
No.
Okay. Let me say again, when you buy Apex, precision comes standard. Check out all the fine competition rifle scopes, red dots, and binoculars at apexoptics.co. The Atom and Fusion red dots have arrived. Get yours today.
And mount it on your PRS gun.
Yeah.
We're also brought to you by
Uncomfortable
EM
silence next.
I'm going. Give me a second. We're also brought to you by EM Precision Rifles in Vegreville, Alberta, building Canada's finest precision rifles. Find Shane and Steve on Facebook, Instagram, and on their website at emprifles.ca.
And that's
And
EM
we-
Precision.
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 Well, you guys could probably use some bolt action coffee, bringing specialty coffee to
Uh-huh.
the precision shooting world. Order coffee and merchandise at boltactioncoffee.com.
And finally, Odell Engineering. Pick up a Canuck shotgun or a Bergera rifle from your local distributor and tell them Phil sent you. Look them up on Instagram, Flakebook, and on their website at odellengineeringltd.com. And somebody just erased something there that I was probably supposed to read. Thank you very much.
There is actually nothing there. I was going to type in, you should check out the new Wrangler, but the Jurassic edition, because that's stainless steel and gray laminate, in my mind, sexier than the tactical.
Yeah, but I can't mount a flashlight on that one.
Actually, you can, because it comes with a Picatinny rail on the very top. Although that'd be a very awkward top-mounted flashlight.
That's where the optic goes, like my Apex Atom.
Don't bow to social convention, Mike. It's not a good road.
Tactical and there's practical and there's both.
You remember, you live on the border between two provinces. You really don't know where you are at any given time. Just do your thing, man. Be free.
I try.
You're a peacock.
Ken's never coming back.
I find it entertaining. There's some personalities in the room.
So, Ken, other than we know that you're a big man of PRS, but go into a little bit more detail.
Sure.
For the folks that don't.
Man, I started shooting, semi-long range stuff probably back in 2009. A friend of mine that was in the military, Nate Whitehead, who's also a match director over in Michigan. He got me into it when he was actually away in Afghanistan, and when he came back, we started shooting. And then in 2016, I started shooting my first sort of PRS style matches. 2018 started hosting some matches. My wife Missy and I, and again buddy Nate in Michigan, we hosted the Wisconsin Barrel Maker Classic. We did that for 4 years. It's a 2-day Pro Series match in PRS, and then we ended up losing our lease on that property, and then it was just a few months later we were in talks with actually Shannon and Julie Kay, who were the current owners of the Precision Rifle Series, and one thing led to another, and I quit my job as I was an engineering manager at a machine tool company, and here I am. It's been 2 years now of working in the PRS, and loving it, honestly. This is it's sort of a dream come true to get to work every day with very like-minded individuals with a passion for the same thing here. So that's me.
That sums it up good. So what did obviously we're here to talk about growing. What is growth like since you've been at the helm?
Oh man,
in terms of expansion.
So I actually was just looking at these statistics today. I have a neat dashboard or whatever. It shows me this. So if I look from the 2022 season, compare the 2022 season to the 2024 season, we went from, let's talk Pro Series matches, 39 to 43. So only a couple more matches. 4,700 scores to 5,200 scores. So that tells you how many more shooters overall for the entire pro season. Regional Series matches, we had in 2022, 320. And in this last year, we had 430. So almost
that's
30% growth.
That's just in the United States and a little bit in the Canadian border, though, too.
Right.
Context.
Yeah.
And
that's more matches than days of the year.
And rimfire matches, we've gone from 392 to 584. Almost 50% growth.
Holy cow.
Yeah. No, I mean the PRS as an organization, shooting organization, is just exploding, right? And it's through a lot of different things, but there was, like it or not, I think the personality at the head of the organization turned out to be a big thing. Like Shannon was very good at building the structure and the rules and getting the sport really well organized. I could not have done what he did, taking it on in 2019. The sport needed his strong personality and his nature, but I think it kind of limited him and his ability to grow in different ways and grow in different areas of the country. Say countries, plural. But yeah, I've done everything I can to foster relationships, across the United States and obviously into Canada as well. Seeing the growth there, right? I mean, this next year with what Carly has done for the regional and pro series in Canada, these numbers are going to look small again. The 2025 is going to be an outstanding year of a growing unified sport. So it's exciting to be a part of, right?
Yeah.
This is my first time really owning a business and trying to manage very business-like things. And I don't have the stress of manufacturing stuff like Carly does, but to see growth across the board in every area of your business, and then to know that everybody's out there kind of fighting for the same thing, it's man, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, I know that we, Apex, I should say, started really working seriously with the Precision Rifle Series just as Ken was taking over and becoming the leader of the organization. And so most of our experience actually with this has actually been with Ken and Missy.
Right.
And to have somebody, especially, you guys know, you were there, you helped us pull it off last summer.
Yeah.
Our first Pro Series match and
5 days.
Canada. 100%. Nobody was more supportive and helping us get our feet under us than Ken, because he's a match director. So he really understands it. He's been in the trenches, and for that reason, it's really helpful. He's shot the sport and he still goes and competes in matches, and, he's squatting up with other athletes in the sport, which is also really helpful. And then I think, again, too, when the United States hosted the World Championships, and I think you guys know we came on here and talked about that a fair bit, Ken was there not only helping out USPRA with that, but also helping grow the sport globally as well, and really just supporting it and fostering that growth. We talked about the legacy that event had for just Canada. We have the people that are match directors in Canada, we're shooting in Colorado, right? So to be able to come out of that and to have those conversations with Ken, I think really went a long way.
Thank you. Yeah, the Worlds match was awesome for a lot of reasons, but a lot of the competitors there are also match directors in their own countries and stuff, and for them to be there and to honestly, and I would say this if I wasn't a part of that match or not, I think that was the best precision rifle match ever put on.
It was incredible.
There's
a 2.5-hour episode of this podcast. Yes. But no, it was incredible. It showed the world what this sport could be. It really did feel like the Olympics of our sport. It was just done in such an incredible way. That it really just showed everybody this is legitimate. It really legitimized the sport for all of the countries. I think for us to be able to go back to our home countries and say hey, we did a thing.
Right. Yeah. And then hopefully take away from that and say okay, well, here's the types of course of fire we should be shooting. Right. And I'm not saying that the US is doing it all right. I think we've just had more experience at this and have made all the wrong moves first, right? Over the years. And I think
somebody has to.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just evolving. And it took us longer to evolve than say, Norway. I went over there this summer and shot in May, and they're right there with us. Their match style was a 2024 match. It was one of the best matches I ever shot. But 2 years ago, they probably were we were at in 2016. They just everybody else has evolved so quickly, but I think it's through opportunities like shooting Worlds matches.
I think so. I'm one of those people that I'm Canadian, so I equate everything.
One of those people.
And knows this about me. To me, the Precision Rifle Series is the NHL of our sport.
Yeah.
And to see that growth, I think that a lot of people realized when they went to Worlds in Colorado just how far behind Canada was. And I think we're going to see a massive jump in 2025 in that direction, just like Ken had mentioned about Norway and some of those other countries. And we're going to see that growth in those other countries. I know that we have the space for a lot of these matches. The US just has the facilities that, you know, a lot of other countries don't necessarily have. So it allows for them to increase growth. But I always think of women's hockey at the international level as the example, and soccer too, where Canada and the US for women went over to other nations to develop their sport and help them get their feet under them. And now that we have these PRS organizations in these other countries, I'm finding that is how we're seeing that growth. They're getting that support effectively from the mothership.
Right. But, you know, I think people want to actually watch PRS, though.
I hope so. I mean, I would say the other sports that Carly mentioned probably have a lot more.
Carly's going to kill me now.
No,
I'm going to wake up dead tomorrow.
We did attempt it at the Apex match. You know, we did stream for 2 hours at the Apex match. Home of the air conditioned washroom for those that don't know.
Yeah, it was actually 5 hours, 2.5 each day.
Yes,
and
it was.
We have a better system, and we have some better experience from that. So we're hoping to get some better coverage in some future events.
Well,
you'll stay tuned for.
Yeah, you would have had more time to cover it if Carly hadn't handed you a honeydew list. So I'll take full blame for that. But no, I'm not going to kill you for saying that. Actually, it's funny because that was the dinner conversation that my husband and I had. See, he already jumped in there. I was like, I can't believe he hasn't jumped in the comments.
Is that right?
Is he on Facebook? I got to
I'll show up.
There is a massive opportunity. And the way, like, I mean, PRS has been featured on a couple of things on like Shooting USA. The AG Cup was on. The Rimfire Nationals at MKM in 2023 was on. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I went on to be like, oh, did anybody from our team make it? Like, who's on there? Or like, oh, am I in the background of a shot? Was I on TV? Kind of like a nerd there. But I mean, the way that was covered was great, but it wasn't what it could have been. Shooter's Mindset podcast has done a really good job with the World Championship and those kinds of things. But I think that we can really kick it up. I want to make it like golf, but more interesting because I don't know. I saw a t-shirt the other day and it was just like, you know, precision rifle shooting. It's like golf, but for men. So I think that there are a lot of really great ways to do that. I know, like Mike and Derek, you guys have some really great ideas. You're going to have to end up sharing those with Ken. And I know there are some things in the future, and it's not my stuff to talk about, so I'm not going to. But I really do think that, I mean, if anybody watched the Olympic shooting sports, only person anybody can talk about is the Turkish guy. I watched the rest of it, and I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm watching it with my kids, and they're like, they're not shooting. I'm like, I think they are because the circles on the TV keep filling in, and they're like,
right.
I don't know. I mean, I also have the kids who don't like shoot rimfire because they don't think the gun is going. They're center fire children.
Hey, is Travis Ishida still doing some filming and broadcasting and that, or is he too deeply involved in the NRL stuff? Yeah, I haven't seen much from him lately.
No, I think with just being at the helm of NRL Hunter has been quite consuming in that space. Plus, they had a kid.
They just had a child too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That always ruins everything.
Ian brings it up. This is kind of just a broad question. What's far behind in Canada? We've been running and shooting precision rifle matches for following in the PRS has existed. Unification is good, but I don't think Canadians are behind.
We are in the level of difficulty of course of fire.
Probably, yeah. So let's look at it this way.
Difficult.
Yeah, this is. I mean, the sport of PRS is different all over the U.S. and Canada and world, right? And I mean, if you go to Oklahoma, like for the most part, like if you go to Clay Blackadder's match, that is going to be a very difficult match, and likely Austin Bushman or Austin Orgain are going to skull drag everybody in the field and win that match. That is a much different match than you will see in, Tennessee or Southeast or even the Northwest. Like it's just different, right? And I think, I mean, if everybody had remained separate and there wasn't, a conglomerate organization bringing people together, like, you would have your really good shooters, and it'd all be relative. But now that I think everybody's getting homogenized together here and having an opportunity to compete, at a global level, country to country, you find out that there are little differences, and it comes down to like the conditions you shoot in, the course of fire that you're shooting, even equipment, right? I mean, the internet actually has kind of made that the same for the most part, but like shooting in Norway this summer, there's a guy over there, and I doubt he's going to be watching this or whatever, but he was jacked about his 260 Remington AI, and I'm like, man.
Hey, don't you sigh over the old 260 Ackley, mister.
That's an excellent cartridge for a lot of things that aren't PRS, right? I mean, there's guys over there shooting 6.5 by 55, Swede. That's a fantastic cartridge that's killed a lot of moose, killed a lot of animals. But is it the best thing for PRS? I don't know, so but for the most part, gear is relatively the same, but it's just, we're seeing the differences. But I mean, did you guys watch live scoring from the Pro Series finale 2 weeks ago? Like, we were really close from having Anthony Colley from New Zealand winning that match. I mean, he was 3 stages away, and he got kind of wind screwed, and then his brain melted down, and then he pulled it back, and he cleaned the last stage. But honestly, I wanted to see it happen. I wanted to see him win that match, because then it's like, this is a global sport. This is anybody's game to win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to jump in and say that I didn't want him to win. And that's because I was rooting for a Canadian.
Sure. Yeah,
My patriotism took over. But no, I'm with you there. And those conditions were miserable. For anybody that didn't know what happened at the national finale, that day 2, we saw upwards of 50-kilometer-an-hour winds, and it was freezing cold and miserable.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't that bad.
That's just normal weather.
It's funny.
We should kind of have a leg up in the freezing cold and miserable section, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, hey, a guy from Saskatchewan took top international for the season, so
there you go.
Yeah.
Not tooting my own horn, but I get range time at -25 at times, so just fight it.
I mean, when you want to go shoot, right?
Exactly.
Should have a sanctioned match at like -30, just like, this is the hardcore. If you want to come, show up, but don't expect a miracle.
I'd run a match. It'd only be like 5 stages. Would cut it short because we only have so much daylight anyways. But
I think too, I just want to circle back to like what Kenneth said about making it a global sport. At the finale in Idaho, there were a number of people from all over the world, and this was their second trip to the US in 6-7 weeks, because they all came to Worlds in Colorado. And I think what was helpful with that was the same thing that was helpful with the match at Worlds, was that a lot of people who had maybe never shot outside of their home country, Canada being one of those countries, went down, shot that match or the finale, and then realized this is the level that we all need to strive to be at, and that we need our matches at home to prepare us for this level in this sport. And it was, I think, Worlds especially, because there obviously were so many countries there, it was a bit of a unifying message that we all realized we needed to take this home so that all of our countries could raise our game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Worlds especially, for Austin Bushman on a real incredible course of fire, incredible environment, to only drop 19 points. I mean, that's
holy cow.
Unreal across 200. Yeah.
With ever-changing conditions too.
Yeah. Everybody sees it, and
that was unreal.
Yeah.
Next thing you're going to tell me it wasn't done with a 260 Ackley. Bullshit.
I think he won the Worlds with a 25 cal. I think he was shooting a 25 GT. Yeah.
Well,
25 GT. I'm going to have to put that on the shopping list.
That's
It's
He's
not a 25 by 47 improved.
Mm,
that would be all right. Yeah, I shoot
How many
it.
different sizes
seems-
of brass do you have there?
all of them.
Oh my God, man. We won't get into it.
That's a whole episode on its own.
Holy shit. Yeah.
So what
Yeah,
kind
things
of
have gotten a little bit out of hand here.
So when you're looking to like open up a new region like this, what does it look like the conversations with the local match directors?
That's a good question.
I'll get Ken
Carly.
and Carly to kind of
Yeah.
Go ahead,
respond to
Ken.
those.
Well,
Yeah.
I haven't. I mean, I've talked to a few MDs, regional match directors, but no, it basically came down to Carly. And I think, I mean, to even back it up one step further, right? From my understanding, like the Canadian PRA, right? Like
Capra, yeah.
Capra, you guys voted on qualifications and whatnot for making the Canadian Worlds team, right? Which included, thank you, shooting Precision Rifle Series sanctioned events. And that just, I mean, that one thing got everything rolling here. And then without somebody like Carly, there was zero chance that I could manage this amount of growth in Canada, remotely. So already having established that relationship with Carly and knowing she's a workhorse and is going to get things done, it was quite easy for me. I just had to lean on our web developer, who's also Canadian.
Is he really? Nice.
Yeah, he's in Ontario, though. Is that really Canadian?
Yeah.
He's further
No,
south than I am.
Boo.
Yeah, he loves hockey, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Stop being with
Redeemed.
people. Yeah.
He I mean that's pretty much what I had to do, was just keep leaning on him, like, hey, we got to open up another region, we got to get these things and it's still not 100% ready yet. I mean, once we put the Canadian Pro Series matches on there, like, we have to have the map and whatnot show the entire region. But yeah, I leaned on Carly. Yeah, Carly, you tell us how you got it done.
So I guess that was one thing, is we felt like we hadn't really had a Pro Series match in Canada since 2021. And when I joined the Capra board about a year and a bit ago, we decided that we needed some type of what we could figure out would be a standardized set of qualifications. So when we're going to talk about centerfire, we have a thing where you have, like, the qualifications are, you have to shoot 5 PRS Pro Series matches and submit your 5 best scores, or so you could choose as many as you want, and submit your 5 best scores over a 2-year period. And the reason why we chose that was because the World Championships is effectively a global 2-day PRS Pro Series match. It is equivalent to that. It's about the equivalent of a finale, but effectively it is a 2-day Pro Series match. And so we wanted to make sure that what you were using to qualify matched that. Now, there weren't any Pro Series matches in Canada at that point, which is unfortunate. And so we decided, my husband and I, Van, to host a match in Canada last year. And we brought the Pro Series back. And we brought that match to Canada in hopes that we didn't want to be the only ones doing it or any of that. We're just like, somebody's got to jump into the pool first. Somebody's got to do it. So we're like, if we do it, maybe others will follow. And we did get a lot of interest
100%.
in that. And people were really curious. And I think what's really come out of that is, the trickle down effect from the IPRF to Capra and the other organizations, and all of the other IPRF nations were using their national PRS region and those matches as qualifiers. And Canada was the only one not doing that. I know we like to kind of do things our own way in Canada, but we had to standardize somehow. We had to standardize around a certain set of rules. And with so many different outlaw leagues and things like that, we were really seeing that we were fracturing the sport a lot and fracturing the community. And it just seemed easier.
And the sponsors.
And the sponsors. That was the other thing.
Yes.
Sponsors are getting bled dry and pulled in a million different directions. And you don't really know what to do. And it was confusing for new shooters and those kinds of things. And so what we wanted to do was have everybody kind of rowing in the same direction, and to kind of standardize this pipeline that, if in both rimfire and centerfire, you're shooting these matches, and then you can go to a regional finale or a national finale, or maybe you can qualify for your national team. And yeah, that's right, Meaford and the Canadian sharpshooter. And so, shout out to Ryan McLean because he was the one that was the match director for those matches out in Meaford in Ontario. And then that became really difficult because of the hoops and red tape that you have to jump through to hold something on a military base. And then he came out to Alberta, hosted the Canadian Sharpshooter Classic, and the last one was in 2021. And that's the last time until this year we had a Pro Series match in Canada. And again, everybody knows what it's like to try and find land. So that was the one thing. I mean, they kind of lost their venue to be able to do that going forward. And then the Pro Series just kind of stalled in Canada. And then I think with the growth of Worlds and with Ken taking over PRS, we really started to see that we really needed to unify this and really kind of get that going and push this forward. I had a meeting this week with almost every match director in the region that was interested in affiliating with PRS this year to sit down and collectively work on a schedule so that we weren't cannibalizing each other's matches, so that we could have a unified vision for the future of how we want to grow this in both rimfire and centerfire. And from what I understand, that's the first time this has ever happened. Which is really exciting. It's exciting for the shooters. It's exciting for these match directors that want to do right by the community and they really want to grow this. And honestly, it was great to be able to finally do that. And I mean, I said that, we've got to walk before we run. And then some of the match directors are like, no, we got to crawl before we walk. And I was like, okay. I'm like, great. You have bigger visions for this than even I do, which I think is really incredible. And people keep talking about an all Canadian series. And that's great in theory, but if you've ever paid to fly from one end of this country to the other, you'll know that it's not financially sustainable. And so having this all Canadian region is, I think, the best case scenario, and I'm really excited. I think it's going to be really good for the community.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not rigid either. If it makes sense to have like an East and a West Canada, again, because it's 4,000 miles across, like we can do that. Like that's, and then here's the other thing about the regional series that I find myself often clarifying. Like if Canadian shooters want to go down to the Midwest region and, shoot in North Dakota or something like that, they're still earning regional points. Their regional standings are whatever region they selected to shoot in. If a Canadian shooter says, hey, I'm gonna shoot all summer, in Saskatchewan, and then but you know what, I got a house in Florida, I'm gonna be down in Florida in October, they can shoot their regional finale in Southeast, but they can earn points all summer shooting in Saskatchewan. Like, you can shoot wherever you want, you just need to designate whatever region you want to shoot a finale in. So there might even be US shooters in the upper Midwest that decide, like, hey, you know what, next year's regional finale is 50 miles from the border, which is 100 miles from me. I'm shooting Foothills region next year, but I'm going to shoot most of my matches in the US. Like, you can do that. I could do that,
Yep.
Yeah. And I know too, like, there's a comment in the comment section about this, is that, so the Foothills region is unique for a Canadian region in that we have the space and availability to hold both rimfire and centerfire matches at both the regional and the Pro Series level. I know that is a challenge out in Ontario, and everyone's like, oh, Ontario only cares about rimfire. Well, it's because Ontario really only has space for that. And for centerfire, those guys in Ontario and Quebec, they got to, like Southern Ontario and Quebec, they got to drive across the border. 4 hours, and
they do.
Fantastic venues and fantastic matches. But there are two clubs in Southern Ontario that affiliate with two different US PRS regions. And we've got two clubs in British Columbia that affiliate with the PRS Northwest region as well. So BC does have a few regional series centerfire matches as well, and they are growing that. So it's good. And so to be able to do that, like you said, Ken, and go across different regions too, to shoot those things. I mean, if you're, I got to go visit my aunt, or I got to go for a wedding, I'll bring my gun and see
take your rifle.
Take your rifle and see what matches
just in case.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a couple things, with all the stuff that you guys were just talking about sort of unification and standardization and stuff like that. With us Canadians, there's an inherent need, I find, with many things, to sort of be away from Big Brother US. It's kind of like,
Okay.
somebody being known as, oh, you're Kurt's little brother, instead of your Joe.
Mhm.
And it's a real thing in Canada because everybody knows the US. Everybody knows what the US is doing, what the US is known for, all that kind of stuff. So it's where the fuck is our spotlight with many people,
Yeah.
with many things. We have hockey. I mean, we lost basketball, right? We fucking invented basketball. And now the US
Yeah.
is the basketball place, right? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of that. There's a lot of people, I think, that really feel that, well, do we really have to follow what the US is doing with all this kind of stuff? Can't we do our own thing? And you know what? To a point, I get that, and I think it should be possible. We do have enough people, and God knows we have enough space for the most part across Canada to host some of these matches. However, the last 10 plus years, I think, has shown that we could probably use a little bit of help. And I think sort of piggybacking on what is something that's already established makes a lot of sense. It won't please everybody.
No, you can't.
But
and you
why the
can't,
hell
yep.
not? And especially if this is going global, we might as well join in that league instead of staying within our own. Now, there's another thing. Sorry, Carly.
That's okay.
This is a rare opportunity that I'm talking over you, but you can go after I'm done.
Maybe I will marry
you. Maybe. One of the other things I was thinking when you guys were talking, if we get a lot of sanctioned matches up here, PRS involved in that organization, Ken, you've gone through a lot of this stuff before, I'm sure, local matches and stuff like that. A lot of local folks that will show up to those matches and really rely on going to shoot there, not willing to travel or not able to travel or anything else like that. But if they get into these bigger, for lack of a better way to put it, higher class matches, however you want to put that, is there danger of pushing other shooters out?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I know.
I can answer that. I'm going to answer. I'm going to answer
go for it.
that part, and then I'm going to circle back to the.
There are classifications, right?
There are. Yeah. You can earn class in Pro Series.
Okay.
Once the regional and Rimfire regional get large enough, we're going to have classifications there as well. Yeah.
But really, for the regional series shooter, I kind of see it as when the club matches, so your regional series matches, affiliate with Precision Rifle Series. What you see is that a lot of the guys that would have otherwise traveled for matches will stay home. And the benefit of that is incredible, because what they do is they mentor and show an example to those new shooters that are coming up that they would not otherwise have had the opportunity to if they're always having to travel for other matches. There's no downside whatsoever for the match director or for anybody. Just because something's affiliated with a league shouldn't make it intimidating or any of those kinds of things for local shooters. I'm not sure if that answers the question for you at all.
Yeah, it does. It does definitely shed some light on it. It's perception with anything human
100%.
beings, right? It's, there's a big show coming to town. Well, fuck, that's not me, so I'm not gonna go because I'm not that class.
Yeah.
So
and I
think it just kind of.
I think that's a PR battle that I think needs to be fought. I think some marketing that will show that isn't in fact the case, and some really good local match directors. I think we win that at the grassroots level and really just prove to people. And I think 2025 is our opportunity to do that. But with the cross-border thing, I think as opposed to having separate leagues, and I know how you said like Canada lost basketball. I guess we only have one team, but Canada has 7 NHL teams? But the NHL is effectively a North
out of 48,
right? And I feel like Canada can sustain as many Pro Series matches as we can sustain NHL teams.
So 7.
I think so.
And that's my personal perception. I think the other problem too is that, especially in the prairies, whenever people think of PRS matches, and I'm going to use the word PRS, like the term PRS, like we would use like Band-Aid or Kleenex or things like that.
Yeah.
We use like a PRS style match. Everyone always thinks of a 2-day match was like a Pro Series match, and it's in center fire, and it's big and it's intimidating, and you are going off the deep end of the pool there, and it's crazy, and you shouldn't have to start there. We should have it just I mean, Hockey Canada oversees every level of hockey, from Timbits up to the national team that competes at the Olympics and the World Championships every year. And so I don't see why we can't have that graduation within the same league and the same framework. And PRS has already done the work for us. Why reinvent the wheel?
Right.
Well, especially with the rimfire.
I think a lot of it
is far less intimidating for anyone to start with. At least it gives you a benchmark.
Should be.
It's how you grow the sport.
Yeah. Big shout out to Rick of CRPS and the basically the rimfire. I forget what he calls them, but essentially it's an introduction to rimfire PRS. And he'll put on it's like kind of like a workshop. You get introduced to the gear, the motions, and then the end of the day,
barricades, getting your dope. Like it's an awesome thing that he provides for people that know nothing. Because for someone who's never shot, and I've approached local clubs like, hey, do you want to get into this? This is something that's happening. It's getting big. It's really intimidating to people that have no idea what you're talking about.
And I'm going to shout out to Rick there too, Derek. I think that's a really great thing that you just did and mentioning that, because Rick does do that. And what he needs too is to help people, and he wants to push people into that pipeline. Like, okay, here's the training wheels. Here's how to do it. Here's the instruction set. And as you outgrow each each level, he wants to push people kind of in that direction. But it's so important. And I think that there's always going to be a place for what Rick offers there, because I think he has really done a great service to this country.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Also,
he got me into it.
And also I'm going to say a bit of a hot take. I'm going to say this, and it'll probably ruffle some feathers, but if you're not shooting rimfire PRS and only shooting center fire PRS, I kind of judge you. I think you're doing yourself.
I think you're missing out.
I would agree. I think you're missing out.
Yeah. Or at least start with rimfire.
This is an interesting topic. We thought that rimfire would be like the gateway for everybody to go then like regional center fire and then like Pro Series center fire. And it is a completely different sport. That's pretty similar. They feel
culturally different.
Oh, way different.
It's so strange.
Explain, please.
Nope.
Okay, I will. I don't care.
Don't you dare back me into that corner.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's okay, Ken. I'll take this one. So we went out. We're the regional title sponsor for the Northeast region, and most of the finales are usually in Pennsylvania. And this year, they did us the great service of having the rimfire finale and the center fire finale on the same weekend. There is some overlap between the two one-day finales of people, but it's just different. The vibe is different. The energy is different. Neither are good or bad. They're both great. They're just entirely different. And to see shooters kind of have the one vibe one day, like the same shooter, you could take the same shooter and have them shoot both days, and they've kind of got different vibes each day. It's kind of hard to explain unless you've actually been present, and then to do both within the same 48 hours is really where you realize it. Because it's like, am I crazy? Is this different? It's like, no, it's
different.
They're intense, and they both have a different set of intensities that I cannot quite explain.
I
will say center fire.
I can relate to that.
This is gonna bite me, but center fire shooters generally can handle the 2-day matches or a day with 12 stages compared to the rimfire shooters, because they are just so accustomed to those one-day matches, whereas a lot of the center fire people do shoot the Pro Series, and so they've had to build up that marathon stamina.
Some of the rimfire shooters.
Well, the
some of us.
rimfire guys have to break for tea a couple of times a day, though, too. So we can't forget about that. Yeah.
It does feel like that. I mean, it does feel like there should be a necessary tea break at a rimfire match.
And they eat more candy.
Yeah.
They do. They're sugar addicts. The rimfire guys.
Nerds gummy clusters is like crack to me. I don't know why, but
and
my kid's totally into it too. I don't know what's so different, but yeah.
We got a question here.
Maple Leaf Mike. Yeah, this is a good one.
Can someone explain the difference between Pro Series and the Regional Series?
I still got good audio, right? I just had to take the headphones off.
No, you're still
you're
loud and clear.
So Pro Series points, you earn points shooting one of this last year it was 43 pro matches. Regional Series points you earn shooting Regional Series matches, center fire, and then there's rimfire as well. I guess more specifically, if you're going to qualify for the Pro Series finale next year's in Pennsylvania, you need to shoot 3 Pro Series matches, one of them being a qualifier, which qualifiers are selected based on a number of things. But if it's a really marquee match, like I'll say K&M Collis or Hornady, PRC in Utah, where it's a sold out match, it's a huge venue, it's an epic event. They generally get qualifiers. Also based on location. So like Canada having, I'll say at least 4 PRS Pro Series matches next year. At least one of them is going to be a qualifier. And typically that'll drive some attendance there. The purpose of the qualifiers is to drive more of the top shooters to be at one match and compete against one another. So if you have to take a qualifier match or, as one of your points, that's going to be really harder in points, right? If there's more top end shooters there. So, and it's, I think that answers it, right? And same thing on a regional series, we have qualifiers for those too.
Yeah. So I'd kind of explain it like a pyramid. On the bottom, you got regional. So that's kind of your.
Let's be clear, the PRS is not a pyramid scheme. You go for it.
Yeah, so a pyramid, as in fewer and fewer competitors at the very top. At the lower scale, you get regional at the bottom. That's your average Joes. It might be, hey, I want to shoot a couple matches, close to me. I'm not here to, go to Worlds. And then there's Pro Series where it's like, this is my sport. I want to make a go at this. Yeah. And then, of course, pro qualifiers where it's like I'm chasing the top. So think of it as kind of a pyramid, not a pyramid scheme. So,
it was difficult, but thank you for that.
Yes. Do I need to do the Y, M, C,
no, please don't.
A? No, don't do that. Please
don't judge us.
Too funny.
James Kopak is asking, where is the qualifier going to be in Canada?
Well,
is that determined yet?
It very, very likely will be Van and Carly's match, the Apex Rocky Mountain Challenge. Yeah.
Over the air-conditioned washroom.
Yeah.
I say very likely because the Pro Series schedule is still being worked on. I mean, it's all that I worked on today. It's coming together. It's Friday night. Hopefully by Sunday night that I have it done. And then after the schedule is like completely outlined, then I go in and select which ones are going to be qualifiers. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Not to slightly derail the show, but we do have a birthday in the chat.
Yes, happy birthday, Paige.
Yes.
Happy birthday to Paige.
29 again.
Cheers.
I believe it's 29 with experience.
Can I be right back? Like you guys can probably talk. I'll be like 11 seconds.
Oh my God. Don't be the pee break guy. We already had a pee break guy.
So question
like a year ago.
How are we going to beat the Americans at Gas Gun? Because I really want to be like, we want to beat them at Gas Gun because it's their thing.
That seems like, okay, I feel like there's 2 options there. So one, you have an American buddy that houses a great competitive gas gun for you to use in matches in the US, and you use it when you visit the US to shoot matches. But to be able to dominate that in Canada, I think is probably a question for our Canadian manufacturers.
Yes, like Mr. JR.
Yeah, I
Yes, sir.
would point you in the direction of JR Cox, owner of Sterling Arms International and sponsor of this podcast, who might be able to help you out. If you don't know him, I'm happy to introduce you, Mike.
We know
Yeah,
you want to shoot
I
an
might- I
R18
might need
because
to-
we also know you have no other choice.
Yeah, exactly.
You know how great it would be for a Canadian to win gas gun division?
It would be a little bit hilarious,
That'd be awesome.
honestly.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Man, this is the first time that I've heard like the big brother thing or whatever, and I totally get it. I do, but especially with other sports and stuff. But like, I can't can't even believe that it's a thing with the Precision Rifle Series, and I'm almost embarrassed that it is a thing,
Oh,
right?
believe
Like
it.
you say, like to win gas gun, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do this. Like I have a gas gun.
Yeah.
Like, bring the Canadians. You can shoot the gas gun. Like,
Yeah.
Well, do we just get all the guys that
And-
dropped out of 3-gun?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I mean, they're already semi-trained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that transfer well over to long range, though?
I don't know.
Honestly.
So
Yeah.
I'm not. I'll say this: half the battle with semi-auto or gas gun is just keeping them running reliably for a 200 round match, right? So if,
We have WKs for that.
Oh,
Yeah,
totally.
the gun and wrench class.
Sure. Well, but a guy that
Bring your spare piston.
3-gun, I think it translates.
Well, I will say when 3-gun took a hit, for lack of better expression,
Mismanaged,
in Canada,
Yeah.
because of the AR ban, we saw that community split a little bit, and guys either went to IPSC or they went to PRS. And then IPSC kind of took a hit, and then I think it's still doing better with like PCC and things like that. But that is really where we did see the growth of PRS in Canada. And I mean, COVID was great for PRS here too, because I mean, what else can you do outside, far away from a lot of people? So
in Wisconsin here, our 1-day matches were selling out at 120 and 130 shooters. 1 days.
Jesus.
In COVID. Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, like, nobody's going on vacation. And the guys at home are like, if we're just going to be here all weekend, I'm going to go shoot a match.
Right.
It was beautiful. Yeah.
I know
think
Shane brought up. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the top of the stack, we'll call it, that you forgot to mention, Derek, is the AG Cup.
Ah, yes,
right.
that's the tip of the pyramid. Yes.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I might get
So just going along
I'll
with
make
that.
it there one day to take pictures. That would be about it.
Shane with the M Precision brought up that we do have some regulatory challenges,
dude,
and
yeah.
he made this comment back when we were talking about land use. Basically, Alberta is fortunate with our CFO and land usage. We have lots of challenges to setting up center fire matches. I think a lot of that, what he's kind of referring to, is places like Ontario, where most of the population is very concentrated. And to get to a more rural place to hold matches is it's quite a long bloody drive.
Yeah.
Like
but
how many
there's
actual rangers? Can
all
host
sorts
a
of
center fire
regulatory
match?
stuff. Say that again, Mike.
How many ranges could actually host a center fire match at an actual Canadian range? I could think of maybe 3 from Manitoba west.
Yeah,
Of ranges that could actually support a center fire match out to 1,000.
Yeah.
you are correct.
Yeah.
Conventional
all of those are hosted on private
ranges.
land
Yeah.
for that reason,
Mm-hmm.
which
And
is
then-
why
Well, you know what?
Rimfire is a great place to start.
Yeah. I have the same problem with my range. It's a great place to shoot all sorts of rim fire, but it's quite limited for center fire stuff. I mean, we've got lots of room for, anywhere a couple of stages out to 1,000, and a little bit beyond, but that's about all.
Mhm.
Just the lay of the land and where the neighbors are and that kind of thing. So, and it's that's very common, I think, across the country, unfortunately.
So there's still lots of conventional ranges that might have 200-300. So you're still very blessed in that regard. So yeah.
True enough.
Personally, when it comes to a match, I hate tiny targets up close. Like, let's push it out. Let's have some wind as a factor and go from there. That's my personal opinion, but that doesn't count for much.
You think that until you have to deal with it all the time. Wind.
Yeah.
Well, it's just however people prefer it. You have super stable props up closer. You have kind of janky props, targets further away. It's a balance. That's just what I prefer.
Janky props?
I don't mind janky props. Like, if you want a super stable position, go shoot bench rest.
I think the sport has evolved. I think it used to be quite a bit that attitude, but I think it's evolved since then.
No, it has. That's just personally, I don't mind janky props.
That's because you're good with tripod rear?
No, I don't use a tripod.
Oh, well, that's because you're
here's a topic.
Yeah.
Oh no, I am all in on the rimfire. Centerfire is new to me.
Yeah, I think if you were shooting off a janky prop with centerfire and were asked where your bullet went, I think you'd be a little bit upset.
Probably.
Yeah.
The wind thing is funny though, because there were a lot of Canadians that went down to Cameo for Worlds, and on days 1 and 2, it wasn't windy enough, and it was like a little startling for them. Like, they're just like, "What? No, just shoot at it. What are you talking about? Like, what?"
Right.
Yeah.
That is funny as hell. That's a real thing.
Oh, it is. I got a real kick out of it. I'm like, yeah.
Goddamn Americans have some wind down here.
Not enough wind. Shooters complaining about not enough wind.
Yeah.
Oh man. That's like King of 2 Miles this year. When Jens was up shooting and I was spotting, that range that we compete at is the only time there's not mirage on that damn thing is when it's raining. And we just happened to get up there. I think it was 1 or 2 shooters before us. The mirage died down to nothing, which is unheard of. And we rely so much on mirage for that ELR stuff.
Yeah.
I had no idea what to do.
I feel like you and Yen threw the short straw this year for that.
Well, regardless of what actually happened, I know it didn't show quite what we would have preferred on the scoreboard. That's the end of it. Next year.
There's always next year. There are a couple guys the weather made them implode at the Pro Series finale, and on like halfway through day 2, I'm like, "How's it going?" There's always next year. I'm like, "Okay, good attitude."
Yeah.
Enough said.
Yep. Still smiling though.
Yeah. That's good.
What is
Well,
the
who else gets to
relationship
shoot down
between PRS and the IPRF? What is that kind of conversation like?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Like?
So
the turf wars?
No. Yeah, I guess I'll give you a little bit of history too. So, when Shannon owned the PRS and the IPRF was being developed, there was some personality conflicts too, because at least in the U.S., it was a gentleman named Scott Satterley, who's a huge influence on our sport and the business. I know there was a personality conflict there, and I don't claim to know all that, but I think it was a misunderstanding of what the intentions of the IPRF were, right? And at face value, especially with like the NRL race gun series that had just taken place, and Shannon won that battle, and the NRL race gun went away, and then the IPRF shows up, and it was very much, what are your intentions? And I don't blame him that for one bit. Like I would be, you know, if another series popped up right now, I would feel very much the same way. I had the opportunity 2 years ago, or coming up 2 years, to meet Marcus Olson. He'd come over for SHOT Show, and I had the opportunity to sit down with him and talk with him, just get to know him, and realize, I mean, this is just he's a shooter from Sweden that I think we're like the same age, we look the same, we're like the same body type, like I mean, it's like looking at a mirror, right? And yeah, so I mean, it was a very good conversation, but just getting to know him and then talking with him, I talked to him probably every other week on the phone for a half hour, 40 minutes. And then just talking about where the sport is growing in other countries. And then my conversations with Runar Johnson, who is the Precision Rifle Series international director, the guy that I hired last year for that role. He's in Norway.
And he's doing a fantastic job
he's
of that.
awesome. He's awesome. Yeah, I wish he had more time to dedicate to it. I think the sport would be crazy big all over Europe. He's doing a good job though. One of the things that I learned in Europe is that there are so many countries that cannot do this sport without having a international body that's a governing body that has an elected board and is nonprofit. And that's, none of that is the PRS, right?
Yeah.
So for a lot of countries, for even to be recognized, for guys to be able to compete in this, you need the IPRF. So even if I wanted to spin off a company or something, like, I don't think most countries would recognize that. They look at the PRS and say, you're a for-profit hobby.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are a bunch of Yankees there shooting stuff. Why should I listen to you?
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. So to have Marcus Olson, who does this for nothing, you know, I mean, I don't say nothing, right? I mean, he does this to grow the sport and the benefit of us all.
Not paid.
He's just not paid, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I need Marcus Olson in the IPRF to be able to do the sport in a lot of countries. So, you know, it went from a really unique relationship where it was like, what are your intentions? I don't trust this.
Yeah.
To you know, now I feel like I have a lot of respect for Marcus and that organization. I know their intentions, and the PRS and the sport of precision rifle shooting is going to benefit because of their existence.
Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of work that the IPRF has done to legitimize this sport at a global level is absolutely incredible. I mean, they've undergone some changes as well over the last year at different levels as well. But the important role that they do play for this sport, for all of us, I think is maybe not as known as it should be. And it is, Marcus works tirelessly. The hours that he spends, there are people who wouldn't be able to participate in this sport in their country if it weren't for the work that he's done.
Right.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Yeah. I mean, that is probably the coolest thing about this sport, that there are so many people, and I'm not just talking PRS, right? I'm just talking precision rifle. There are so many people that are willing to give it all, you know, give half their life or more, just to push this thing ahead, because it is so damn cool, right? And the community is so awesome, right? It's so full of good people that, I mean, look at you guys on a Friday night, right? You know, I mean, you're doing the same thing, just like a match director would, or somebody in the IPRF, right? Like, you're giving up your Friday night to talk about this because it's awesome.
Yeah, get the word out, spread it out there, and that's connect people. That's it's part of it. So
it all is. Yeah.
Well, how often you'll be at a match and someone new will show up and they're like, "Here, take my $7,000 plus setup and just go have fun with it. I don't care what you do with it."
So
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Like
I don't
that's a
think-
level of
Yeah.
trust that most other sports you probably won't encounter.
I don't think any other sport. I think that's something really unique to what we have, and it takes, just incredible personalities that are generous like that want to do it.
Yeah, it is. It's
So-
pretty incredible to watch, honestly. I mean, just with the new Facebook page for the new region coming out, there have already been a couple of posts in there saying, I've never done this before, but I really want to try and I'm really excited.
Heck yeah.
And I'm excited that now this is close to home. And, it's something that people are excited to dive into, which I think is pretty incredible. And the
Mhm.
community aspect of it, I mean, it's like no other sport.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of perceptions there again, but man, we've preached this for so long on this podcast. Just get out and shoot, and you'll see the people that are there. And
Yeah.
aside from me, there's not many dicks, so just come on out.
Yeah.
But
Oh, for sure.
even just for hunters, like what PRS provides for you is an opportunity to practice hunting essentially before you actually go and do it.
Yeah.
Like my cousin, he
To
was not
extent.
a extensive shooter. We got him in a couple of matches, and then he tagged his elk at like 325 because he knew his dope. He went through that process of getting dope because of PRS style matches, and now he's got an elk for it. So like it does
Yeah,
build other
practical
skills
aspect,
at the same time.
It's also a great place to meet hunting buddies.
Yeah.
That's true too.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, just ask Ken.
Yeah. Yeah. I had opportunity of a lifetime last year. I had to go with John Pinch up to Alaska or over to Alaska, depending on where you're at. But
Like
Yeah.
our networking opportunities are amazing.
no, it's incredible.
And a very small, tight-knit community too.
Mhm. So this is a good opportunity to talk about this. So we're talking new divisions in the match director committee right now, and we've talked about adding a suppressor division. We had majority vote say yes, go for a division, but I think we're just going to add it as just you can run a suppressor on a gas gun or production rifle or open rifle, and it's or TAC class, whatever. You can run it in any division, so it's just kind of like an extra add-on thing. But Silencer Co is going to put up $5,000 for the winner of that class, category, division, whatever you want to call it, right? But whoever uses a suppressor all season and earns their points using a suppressor and finishes on top. Another division that we're talking
You have
about.
a dream, Billy.
Another division we're talking about here, which Mike goes back to your hunting comment, is a sportsman division. So this will be essentially, there's a lot more language to the rule and the division, but a 6'5" Creedmoor, 13 pounds or less.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to become a really good hunter and have good skills and all that, like that's exactly the rifle you're going to compete with, right? You could use that rifle for almost anything. For those that are shooting NRL hunter, their open light division's 12 pounds. So we give a little bit of extra leeway on that. If they want to change their bipod or use a different scope or something along those lines, it gives them that opportunity. But we should be. This was, I think, the last time I looked, 85% of the people voted yes to bring the sportsman division in. But that gives that person that opportunity. So if you're a big time hunter in Canada and you want to become a better marksman, like bring that rifle out, compete in your own division, and possibly you're going to be competing in a smaller pool. You might do well and really love the sport using equipment you already have.
I'm gonna rave a little bit here. I like that, and it kind of segues to tactical class.
Yeah.
Because obviously tactical is 5.56 or 308.
Can I just jump in and say one thing real quick before?
Yeah, sure.
Is that this division, I know that they have already had success with at the in I think it's Denmark and one other European country, and they call it field class over there, but it has already been successful. So it's kind of served as an example. But jump into that.
Okay, yeah. So it does have roots, and like I was going to go on Rafe a little bit about tactical, which is just 5.56 or 308.
Right.
I think it's an underutilized class for a lot of people that aren't into changing calibers every 2 years to keep up with the next hottest thing. Essentially, just limit yourself to essentially you're going to end up with the same, roughly the same speeds, same bullet selection within the other guys in the class, and essentially just focus on the shooting. So I think those two classes, I think they're a little bit underrated.
That's
So,
a good point. I shot production division for I think 3 seasons, in the Pro Series, and that I found that the most like comforting thing about it was that I started and finished the season with the exact same rifle, same caliber, same brass. That it didn't. I wasn't chasing anything. It was like, this is what I'm shooting. And it was really comforting. I enjoyed shooting that way. So I don't discourage people. Like they come in and they're like, I'm going to shoot a 308. Like you can, you're going to be in your own division. You just don't expect to win matches and, against open guys,
Yeah, exactly. Get out there, shoot. You'll learn recoil management. You'll learn the wind.
Yeah.
Take it as an experience for yourself.
Yeah.
Knock off that trio tree and let's see what she can do.
You see an increase in 308 shooters in the year of a centerfire world championship because you got the guys that got attack who are trying to prepare.
Yep.
Andy's comment came up and that made that because Andy shot tack at Worlds.
Yep.
So I see Ken with PRS, they have a membership. How does that exactly work for those that don't know?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. So our memberships are basically the way to just track your scores, right? You have from now until February 15th to buy a membership for your 2025 season. So we haven't advertised it, but memberships are available on the website right now. If you wanna go buy and support us, I'm not going to say no. Thank you for supporting us. It helps pay for marketing and social media and all the stuff that we do. So, so if you are shooting rimfire, right? Buy the $40 membership and select your region. You'll create a profile on our website. Hopefully you put a fancy picture up in a Hawaiian shirt and your favorite rimfire rifle. And
conveniently has both on, actually, for those that don't know, Mike.
It's got to be a Hawaiian shirt going forward, just so everyone.
Absolutely.
He does shoot a factory Big Air and rimfire.
Yep.
People don't think he's part of the Swedish national team.
He looks like he could be.
Yeah.
So fill out your profile. We have it says favorite gear on there, right? Which benefits a lot of people, right? So like new shooters come in, they're like, man, I shot with Mike, this weekend. What was he shooting? And they don't have to be a creep and ask you, even though, the community totally supports that. But you can look at the profile and see what their favorite gear is. That favorite gear is also excellent information for people like Carly and Van who support the series and want to see their products being well used, right? Mm-hmm. So I can't emphasize that enough, that it's helping the sponsors who help the sport and grows this whole thing, right? So fill out the favorite gear and then select your region that you want to shoot in, right? So probably Foothills if you're Eastern Canada and you want to compete in the Northeast region or New England region or something like that. That's fine too. Or Northwest region, etc. So fill out your region, and then every match you shoot, when the scores get uploaded to our website, all of your match progress is tracked there, right? So then you can go back and look and see how you did it in any PRS match that you shot. If you shoot a match and you don't see it there, there's a way you can claim your score. If you go to our FAQs, I think it's actually FAQ number 1. Where's my score? So that's rimfire regional, similar thing. You pick a region, fill out all your centerfire stuff. A little bonus for regional shooters. If you want to compete at the Pro Series finale, we do take the top 3 shooters out of every region, open division, to compete at the Pro Series finale. Now, if like 1 through 5 are already, the studs that already qualified via the Pro Series, series anyway, we'll take shooters 6, 7, and 8. So we keep moving down until we find 3 guys that didn't qualify during the Pro Series. If you want to compete at the national championship for rimfire, you have compete in the rimfire regional series, and we take the top 150. The rules are changing a little bit on this year, but we're going to take the top 150 overall, like of all rimfire, and then grab some from each region too. So next year's rimfire finale is in Idaho, and next year's Pro Series finale is in Pennsylvania. Does that explain it? Hopefully, and the Pro Series, same thing. So if you buy Pro Series membership, you shoot Pro Series matches, your scores are tracked into Pro Series, and then you have an opportunity to compete at the Pro Series finale.
I think the one thing too, though, that you always forget to mention, Ken, is that when you buy a PRS membership, you do get
discounts
and swag and all
Thank
that.
you. Yep.
Yeah.
And I do. I'm going to grab a membership shirt real quick because it's a good reminder for people who have a 2024 membership to log in on their dashboard. There's a code that then you can go, and there's a link that goes to our shopping page or whatever, shop.precisionrifleseries.com, and then you can get your free membership shirt. But I should grab one of those shirts because I'm really proud of these things. I have one.
Yep, no problem. Yeah.
They're really nice too. Like they're really soft, nice cotton, like a t-shirt you would actually want to wear, not one that you would wash your car with. Because we've all gotten those swag shirts before.
The old oil change shirt.
Exactly. Yeah, the PRS shirts aren't.
That's like all that. I own.
I mean, a free hat is one thing, but a t-shirt is like I can go out in public in the t-shirt.
Exactly. And new discounts come out throughout the year too. Like sponsors always add extra stuff for members and stuff, which is really fun.
I'll bring Ken up solo here. And
perfect.
Yeah, a nice big view of the shirt.
I'm really proud of these because like the tag on the inside, like
the red stripe.
Red stripe even says
everybody knows that's
has our tag. Yeah. Rimfire, so centerfire on the sleeve says Hornady, rimfire says Ruger. They're the title sponsors. You know what? Maybe we'll change this. It's on the other sleeve.
That's okay.
No, that's good.
Maybe we need a maple leaf.
Just put a globe. It covers everybody. You're good.
Yeah.
Even the side seam though. So like side seam on the shirt has like the little PRS logo.
Nice tag. Yep.
And they're really, really nice shirts. So this one's 2024. This is a Centerfire membership. We do have Rimfire memberships too. That say PRS Rimfire on them. But yeah, like it was kind of a clusterfuck getting these this year, and we didn't get them until September, even though I ordered them in like February, March. But they're made overseas. They're custom made specifically for us, with all the tags and everything. And the country they're made in had a little coup where the prime minister had to fly out of her country in the middle of the night via helicopter, and there was nothing going in and out of the country.
These things happen.
Yeah.
Sounds
sounds
like a Tuesday.
Yeah, I had bought 1,000 Rimfire and 1,000 Centerfire shirts fully paid for, and they were like, they're just sitting there. Thank you, Ben.
We're busy shooting people.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I need these membership shirts here now. So anyways, there's please, if you're watching, you're a PRS member, log into your dashboard, grab that code, get your shirt, because I don't want to have, at the end of the year, I don't want to have 500 sitting in a warehouse in Texas that say 2024 on them, and I can't do anything. Anyhow.
Yeah. That's the problem with dating
Excellent.
stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little tricky.
But I ordered them in like March, so that shouldn't have been a problem.
I'm just looking at the website now, so you can also stack like regular PRS, regional, and pro and rimfire on top of everything else.
Yeah, there is a discount if you buy all together. You know, the memberships are discounted there. So yeah, and then you get like Carly mentioned, there's some pretty awesome discounts across the board. You know,
I think one of the main questions that people always ask, and this comes back to something that Kurt had mentioned earlier, is people wondering if they need to buy a membership to be able to shoot the matches, and if that is a requirement, because maybe they only shoot 1 or 2 matches a year and they're really just going out to have fun with their buddies. Is that a requirement?
No. Yeah, that's something that's often debated because there's a lot of other sports. Like before I got into shooting, one of the things Missy and I did quite a bit of was triathlons, and every triathlon that we signed up for, like you had to have it's called like United States Triathlon Association or something like that. And that was insurance purposes. That's what they say anyway. But yeah, I mean, like if you join a bowling league, you need to you have to get a sanction card, or if you join a golf league, you need whatever, be sanctioned by the governing body. But we've never done that. I don't think this community needs mandatory, memberships. Like,
please no.
I don't. No, we don't. I mean, we support the hell out of each other anyway, right? And if you want to shoot 1 or 2 matches a year and you don't want your scores tracked or whatever, cool. Thanks for shooting with us, right?
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think we're the most chill out of all the shooting sports. That's just my opinion, but
I hope so.
There's no rules like
I've
your
heard
shorts are too
is
tight
really
or...
accepting. Yeah.
Your shorts are too short or too tight, Mark Steele.
You're being DQ'd because your shorts aren't tight enough.
I don't know. Some of those black powder people look pretty comfortable in the fur hats and walking around in wool coats, and
they're pretty judgy too.
Blowing smoke
there's
everywhere.
Not enough fur on your hat, sir.
That's a PRS is missing is a black powder division.
Maybe.
Yeah. 4-day weekend.
Yes.
We're just gonna have to up the stage times a little bit, but
yep. Well, the target's gonna have to be a little bigger too. I mean, like most of those bullets are 300 grains plus, and they're not moving any slower.
Yeah.
We're gonna make 45 120 the top caliber and PRS black powder division.
I don't think you mind if we make our own black powder PRS league there, Ken. That's not stepping on your toes.
I'll come up and give it a go.
Okay, all right. He even says he'll jump in, so I think we got his blessings.
That would be interesting to watch.
What does the regional director do? What did the regional director do?
So the match director personalities and managing that, right, where everybody's special. And
that's what I was always told.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be trying to deconflict schedules, especially I mean, you guys already have a developed shooting community already, right?
And a short season because of climate.
And a short season, right? Well, that climate's getting better every year. It's getting better and better and better. Canada's going to be amazing to live in like 20 years.
Tropical.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, just trying to deconflict all the schedules so that a shooter has the opportunity, to compete as much as they can and not have to make choices on a weekend. Do I go here or go there? Is a big one, right? And then, of course, herding cats, like trying to get all the every one of those match directors to get their matches up on a website so that people know where they're at and can go shoot them. And then in the end, like following up with them. I'm sorry, there's no scores there. I mean, we have an automated way of doing that after a match, but sometimes we have to pull the match director in. Carly, I know I just skimmed the surface on that.
I mean, it's a lot of conversations and it's a lot of relationships, and it is really just, when there's a bit of, conflict resolution that kind of comes into it. We all have the same goal in mind. We all want the same thing. We all want to do right by the community. How do we do our best? Even offering up suggestions on marketing for matches or things like that. And just so that people even know that these things are happening, or, maybe some out of the box thoughts with that, and making sure that, because a lot of the match directors up here, they don't just like to host matches. They also want to go and shoot matches. And so that, we can kind of go and we can support each other's matches and those kinds of things. But then how do we make sure that we're not just hosting, the 2-day pro series matches, that we're making sure that we are building up the regional series so we really can grow the sport and have opportunities, to tack on training days or things like that to bring new shooters into the fold and that kind of thing as well, or help with finding locations, or, how do I get a title sponsor, or those kinds of things that people maybe didn't necessarily think about before, but they're like, oh, I want to grow this, I want to make it bigger, and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of that to it as well. And like I said, just making sure that we're all kind of pulling in the same direction. And of course, there is a little bit of cat herding and administrative, just making sure that everybody is kind of meeting their, hitting their targets, for lack of a better term, and making sure that, we see this, how it's gonna, and long term too. I mean, a lot of it has been the forethought of thinking past this year, because it's just like, we start to get into a rhythm in a community, and generally, and we've had some match directors pull back this year and other new match directors come up. And it's just like, it'd be great if we had a match at this particular time, because we're just so used to having one, and somebody canceled their match now going forward. And it's just so habitual for this community. It'd be great if somebody could fill that spot, because we know people are just like, well, now what? There's no watch that weekend anymore. What am I supposed to do?
Oh my God. Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
Reload?
Right?
Yeah.
So thinking about those things and how this looks year over year, and how we, establish a foundation for 25 and kind of growing it through the, year after year and that kind of thing. And like I said, establishing kind of that rhythm and how we can build around it and build up other clubs and really grow the region as well. So, and grow the sport in Canada. I mean, I was one that said that I didn't think the US and the rest of the world saw us coming in Colorado. And I will be the first to admit that I was a little bit cocky about it. And I think I had every right to do that. Ken's American, I'm sorry. But I love it. I told Greg Bell, the president of the USPRA, I was like, we're coming for you. And he's like, hey, Mrs. Carly. He's like Southern and polite. And I'm like, no, we are. We're coming. Wait for it. And we really showed up in a really real way. And I think now that the jitters are gone, and the more that we start developing this, good. I mean, there were people, I've gone to a lot of matches in the US this year, and they'll be like, oh, who's that guy? Like, that guy? What's his name again? I'll be like, oh, I'm like, his name, it's Chris Hoyen. And they're like, oh, the guy who shoots coyotes. I'm like, yes. And they know who these people are. They know the names. They know all these people. When Noel Greasley won top international as a Canadian, everybody from Canada cheered and like maybe a little too loud. We were pretty excited. We've been rooting for him all year. And, like, we're here and we've come to play, and this is giving us only that much more of an opportunity to develop our program here at home.
Dude, and I think you'll see things. I think you'll see shooters like Chase Beckley. I mean, he won a Pro Series match this year, right?
Smoked up everybody.
Right.
Couldn't drive to the match, beat everybody after that.
Yeah.
No.
I think, him and I mean, there are some serious Canadian competitors that, especially after having, after 2025, where we have 4 or 5 Pro Series matches there, I think there's gonna be some household Canadian names. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely think so.
Mhm.
I mean, we've had a lot of shooters that have crossed the border down into the US to go and shoot. And now we've got Americans who are wanting to come up. I mean, my message to all the Americans was come up and shoot our matches. Think of the money you'll save on fees with the exchange rate.
Right. Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
laughed, and I'm like, I'm not
Every
joking.
match is a 60% discount on everything you do up here.
Yeah, I'm like
Not quite that close.
40.
It's pretty close to
A
60%.
40% discount.
Yeah.
I mean,
Might
that
as
is
well
appealing.
be.
We need to get this podcast down to the States. People need to hear that message.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was the one
Yep.
thing. Every time anybody asked me, they're like, "So, what is the number one message to get Americans to come and shoot up in Canada?" I'm like, they save 40% at least at a
Yeah.
minimum
Mhm.
on their match fees, their accommodations, their meals,
And
everything.
you don't even have to go through Geico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the objectives we do have for the website too is to put international travel on the website, whether that's Canada to the US, US to Canada, US or Canada to other countries in Europe and stuff like that. But to get like kind of a how-to guide and where to go so that it is easy. Because I know that's a big detractor for a lot of people. Like, oh, I can't take a rifle into Canada. I'm like, you've never heard of anybody taking a hunting trip in Canada? What do you think they hunted with?
Yeah,
You
right.
know, like,
eh?
this can
Yeah.
How many thousands?
We got things to.
But that's it. We're starting to see destination PRS matches and the way that people who used to go and they'd be like, "Oh, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to run the Boston Marathon this year, the New York Marathon. I'm going to go
Mhm.
take my family to Hawaii and run a marathon or do a triathlon there." I mean, there's a couple who shoots PRS who went on a baby moon while she was pregnant. They went to Norway and he shot Viking Trail this spring in Norway. And we're seeing people who are like, "Oh, well, if I could go to South Africa or Australia." In all reality, I mean, the landowner where we host the Apex Rocky Mountain Challenge had heard of Precision Rifle Series because he went on a hunting trip in Australia and his
That's
guides shoot PRS in Australia. And they're like, let us tell you about the sport that we do.
That's
And
awesome.
so he knew all about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's becoming it's becoming a thing. People are really traveling for this in a destination way and not just for world championships, which is really exciting.
Well,
I met,
Apex with the Stampede too at the same time. Like if you've never been to Stampede, go to Stampede. It is a interesting time, and I will leave it at that.
Yeah, I met three guys while I was at the Gap Grind this year in Tennessee that had all come over from Hawaii.
Ooh.
So I mean the opportunity to go to Hawaii and shoot, like, man, I couldn't think of a better like January 5th match, you know. Let's all go.
Lots of goats too.
Yeah. You can shoot animals there too.
Mm. Yeah. So kind of a
poor
big.
Uke.
Oh, what's Uke
Uke
all
was
about
asking
here?
a little. Yeah. What's that? Sorry.
What was Uke asking?
Oh, he was asking. I know you guys have told me,
Mm.
but what's PRS stand for?
Like the actual like PRS. What's the actual definition?
Yeah.
Because I've heard 3 different definitions of it.
Really?
What?
Legit. It's like precision rifle series.
would that be
precision
then?
Rifle sports. Like people make up their own thing.
It's right there.
I know.
Well, that's just dumb.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
Precision Rifle Series.
There we go. It's
And
done.
if you Google
We
it,
all
like
know.
anybody does, like you're gonna find PRS guitars. I don't know what PRS guitars are, but they've
Yeah.
got to be awesome.
Does
Yeah,
a rifle fit in
that
the
was-
same space?
That was Yuka Kazi's question.
Okay. Well,
He's a little bit off, but we love him.
you got,
So
you
that's
got an
fine.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a chef. He can cook circles around all of us.
Mhm. So one of the big questions for
right.
Carly: what matches are we going to see this year? How do we have some answers
I do.
exactly yet for
Yeah,
those
I
that are
got-
signed on and such?
Yes,
Hold
so
on.
we've had a number of clubs in this region, all the way from, so just to give everybody kind of an idea of where this region really is, it's from, if you took a line and took out that squiggly part on the side of Alberta on the map and just drew it straight as if Alberta were a second Saskatchewan, that's kind of what it looks like from that until the Manitoba-Ontario border. So it's Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and we've annexed Fernie Cranbrook and put them into this region with us. So within that region, we do have rimfire at the Fernie Rod and Gun Club and all the way to Valley Precision in Manitoba. We have some matches sprinkled through southern Alberta and into Saskatchewan as well. We're going to have some regional centerfire. Some of them will be 2-day matches. But there are 2 one-day matches. So some of them will be rimfire one day, centerfire the other, or there'll be 2 one-day centerfires. So if you can only come out and shoot one day, then come out and shoot that one day. If you want to shoot both, that's great. If you want to shoot one and volunteer the other, that's great too. So really giving shooters a lot of opportunity and a lot of choice. And like Ken said, we're probably going to have upwards of 4 Precision Rifle Series Pro Series matches this year across the prairies, which is also incredibly exciting. So we're going to probably be having those anywhere from May through the end of August, which is great. So once the schedule is finalized, we'll have all of those dates out to you. And I'm really excited about what that's going to look like just for the landscape for Canada and even for those northern states that don't necessarily have a high concentration of those 2-day Pro Series matches. So it's going to draw those shooters up just because they, in all reality, they're just closer geographically. So it makes a lot of sense. That is one thing that people weren't realizing when I was at the Pro Series finale and chatting with a lot of the shooters going squad to squad is they're like, oh, that's actually a lot closer to home than some of these other matches I've been shooting. This is going to be really great. So they're really excited about that. But like I said, just having the matches across those provinces, I mean, we really haven't seen matches outside of some of the rimfire matches like the one that Kurt hosts in Saskatchewan. And so seeing some of those matches in Saskatchewan is going to be great because that really is central to us. Of course, the Southern Alberta Precision Rifle League is stepping up and they're going to be hosting a Pro Series match as well as matches at the club level, which is great. So really developing the rimfire and the centerfire one days. You know, we've got, I'm going to leave clubs out if I try and mention everybody, but Interlake in Manitoba. We've got Tabor Precision Rifle Club, which was actually a part of the PRS Rocky Mountain region last year. So we've got a couple of clubs in Saskatchewan as well. So this is really growing at a rapid rate. We've had quite a few match directors learning about the new region that got really excited really quickly. And we're happy to really be a part of something and to help grow this all together in a really great community way. So I'm really excited for 2025. I keep trying to talk to match directors. I'm like, hey guys, February and March are open. No one has any matches scheduled.
Great time of year to shoot.
I'm like, okay, but like in Alberta, if a Chinook is coming and we know like 2 weeks notice is plenty, like, oh, we'll check the forecast. We're supposed to go from like -13 to like +12. So like,
oh my God,
do it. So yeah, we'll see.
And if guys need help, they know how to get a hold of me. I will come help for matches.
Yes, and that's the other thing too, is there is no shortage of volunteers. I know volunteerism is a big part of Mike and Derek's life. They showed up and really helped us out with the Apex Rocky Mountain Challenge in a big way. Yeah, very few people make me cry. Chase Beckley's one of them. He thinks I have a crying problem. So he can be quoted as saying that. But you know, there's a lot of people in this community that want to show up and they want to volunteer. And I mean, I think something that I don't think a lot of Canadians necessarily realize is there are a lot of retired guys in the US that are bored. They don't really want to shoot anymore. And they love to RO because they just want to be in the community and they want to be a part of it. And they're like, oh, you're hosting a match? When is it? Oh, it's not that far. I'll come up. Do you want me to come up like 2 days before, 3 days before? Do you want me to RO? Do you want me to help set up targets? Like, what kind of help do you think you need with this? And they're just excited to pitch in and they'll come up. So, oh yeah, I'll come to Canada. Seems fun. It's warm then, right? Awesome. Good. They're in. So there's a lot of people that really want to come up and help us build this and help support it because they've been match directors. They know what an undertaking it is. They know we're not doing it for the profit and the glory. So
yeah, right. Hey.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, which is great. And I know they're having some questions about this in the comments too, is we do have 2 NRL Hunter matches in Canada. And I have been very careful as to not cannibalize those matches. knowing that those are also Canadian match directors that come and shoot the Precision Rifle Series matches. And so we want to make sure that those weekends are isolated so that we don't host matches that overlap those. So the community doesn't have to choose between Canadians, because we know we are a small community. And I know a lot of regions don't have to make those decisions, and we are one that does. But you know, Ken has been really gracious in working with me on that. And I know that was a question that a lot of other match directors had. They're like, oh, I don't want to, you know, overlap these guys. And even though I'm probably not going to go shoot it, but you know, like they come and shoot my match and they're good Canadian folks. And I'm like, yeah, no, don't worry. Like I've already accounted for that. So
awesome to hear. So then this summer's looking pretty bright.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Podcast on the road.
Yes. Yeah, it's gonna have to be mobile.
We need better equipment. Please donate.
Yeah, drop up your daughters and bring out your Starlink.
Yeah.
Good thing nobody has that.
Yeah, right. One that works anyway.
So that is.
Did we get yours working at my place? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, it worked. You guys were terrible, but
some
Starlink worked.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I'll concede to that for sure.
We're learning and improving.
All right.
Learning and improving.
Yes. Last words, Ken. Where can everybody find you again?
PrecisionRifleSeries.com. That's the big one. And then look for us on Facebook, Instagram. We're putting a lot of efforts into both of those channels, and YouTube coming up. In January, we have a new channel that we're gonna release. It's going to be aimed more at the shooter that is probably just outside of our sport, that you know is pretty curious about long range precision rifle stuff. So stay tuned to the website here, precisionrifleseries.com. The Foothills region in particular is going to be it's going to be populated here pretty quickly, I think.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Charlie, last words of wisdom.
Come out and shoot a match next year. Just come out and shoot. There's plenty of opportunities. Canadians always say, oh, we wish we had more opportunities to shoot. And the Precision Rifle Series is supporting us in being able to do that and grow this sport. And I say it every time I'm forced to give last words or make a speech at an event. It is our responsibility to grow this sport. Bring friends out, introduce them to this sport. There's no rules against sharing gear. So come out, introduce people. It's our responsibility to do this. We love it. So let's share it with people so that they can love it too.
We draw the line at sharing underwear, but anything else is good. Anything else is good. All right. If you haven't already, please check out the show at www.facebook.com/BS podcast. Leave a review. Let us know how we're doing. Also, if you like the content, please leave a like on the page and share. You can also email us at info@bspodcast.ca. Please no nudes or pictures of your grandmother or dogs shitting on a fence post or something like that. We don't want to see that.
Any combination thereof.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. None of the above, please.
Yeah.
And also, as always, a massive thank you to all our sponsors. Without you, we wouldn't have a show in the first place. Shane and Steve with EM Precision Rifles, Miles, Carey, and Cappy with call sign 66, Duncan and Rob at Bolt Action Coffee, Phil Odell at Odell Engineering, Doug and Niza with March Scopes Canada, Vanya and Carly with Apex Optics, and Oscar with Ribstone Gunsmithing. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Did I cut anybody off? Anybody want to say anything at all?
Speaking of
I knew it.
That segue is pretty good, so I'm gonna have to take it from here, folks. Before we seal this one up, please consider supporting us by heading to storydknives.com to pick up our Gardner knife. We think this is one of the best survival type EDC fixed blades available for very reasonable costs. We're pretty proud of it. Working the YouTube grind pays less than running a lemonade stand, and doing what we try to do to bring interesting stuff to our audience takes up almost all of our combined Canadian carbon tax rebate checks. Thank goodness we're saving the planet with our taxes. Please go have a look at a great knife, storyknives.com. We're confident it'll be on your side for a lifetime.
They are. They're
All right.
beautiful. Christmas is coming. They make a great stocking stuffer.
There you go.
This is true. Just make sure the sheath is on.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thanks, Carly, for being here with us. Thank you very much, Ken, for entertaining this shit show. We appreciate it. Okay. Sayonara, everybody.
But some of these bullets, as you saw, have an incendiary device on the tip of it, which is a heat-seeking device.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Welcome to your weekly dose of BS, the Ballistically Speaking podcast.